All right, folks. The regular season's winding down. Might be time to do one more crossover with our good buddy, Millard Thomas of Locked On Diamondbacks. Let's do a Locked On MLB, Locked On Diamondbacks crossover.
You are Locked On MLB crossover, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Hello, baseball fans and Diamondback fans and fans all over the world. And welcome to a Locked On Diamondbacks, Locked On MLB crossover. This is the podcast we talk about either all of Major League Baseball or the surprising yet sometimes frustrating Arizona Diamondbacks. I'm one of your hosts today. My name is Paul Francis Sullivan. By all means, do call me Sully. I'm the host of Locked On MLB, and for a few more days, I'm also the host of Locked On A's because why not? And joining the festivities today is
Millard Thomas, host of the Locked On Diamondbacks podcast. Frustrated at the moment, but still a little bit optimistic as we get closer to the playoffs here, Sully.
Yeah, lest we forget, they are the defending National League champion, Arizona Diamondbacks, and by all accounts are going to be heading back to the postseason. Follow us at Locked On MLB Pods on Twitter or whatever it's called now, and on Instagram. I am your pal Sully. I'm at Sully Baseball on Twitter, Sully Baseball Podcast on Instagram. Millard, where are you?
I'm right here. Where are you?
Cool. I'm cool. By the way, one last bit of business. This episode is brought to you by Booking.com. Booking.com or look Booking. Yeah. The right stay can make you a fan of any city, even Las Vegas. Book today on Booking.com, the official accommodation partner of Major League Baseball. Get the Booking.com app today. So, Millard, we're here. It is this episode is being dropped on the 25th day of September 2024. The season is wrapping up. We're starting to see the division winners get the clinch. We're going to see the teams that can't afford to lose a game. And we're going to be doing the final power rankings of the year. But before we do that, just let me ask you a quick question. How the Diamondbacks do tonight?
Whoo, Sully, they're playing like they don't want to go to the postseason. Maybe they think this is like their bye week right now because they're not going to get one in the playoffs because another just disgusting loss to the San Francisco Giants this time. I mean, we're actually recording this while the game's still going on because it was 11-0 last time I looked. So I think it's time to hit record and talk about the sad state of the D-backs right now.
Well, you know, my mom listens to every episode, and my mom also watches every Giants game. My mom would call a game like this final score a lot to not enough, but it's a little worse than that. I make this point often. If you forfeit a game if you don't show up, you get a forfeit, and the official score of a forfeit is 9-0, and that would improve the Diamondbacks' run differential tonight because it's 11-0. You have to be able to beat staying in the hotel. You got to be able to beat staying home and just watching, Squid Game or whatever is the new thing on Netflix. I'm behind in my Netflix watching.
Hey,
11.
Dropped the trailer for season 2 coming out. Be on the lookout for that.
Yeah, always a good, fun watch. I mean, if I'm not mistaken, Carroll made a leaping catch to steal a home run. And
little Carroll.
Yeah, and that, by the way, is the only batter to not hit a home run for the Giants. But before we get going, let's just do we'll talk about the whole picture in baseball and do one more power rankings. We'll do a final power ranking at the end of the year, but let's just take a look at the power rankings right now. Voted by there they are. Oh my God, there's 60 teams now. Oh wait, it's doubled. I thought that's a lot more. The bottom 4 are pretty easy to pick. All right, let's take down the mosaic there. We can see our pretty faces. 30, 29, 28, and 27 are really, really easy to pick. You got the White Sox, the worst team in the history of baseball in terms of win-loss record.
And do you see what happened tonight? They won the game, and then their fans started booing.
Yeah, that's something, but at the same time, who did they beat? They beat the Angels, who are number 27. I mean, 29 and 28 are Marlins and Rockies. Lest we forget the Marlins were a playoff team last year.
Yeah,
So,
it's actually so sad what's happened to their franchise this season.
and think about this for a second. Both the Marlins and the D-backs were the visiting teams on the road for the wild cards to the National League Wild Card Series last year, and both were surprise teams. And the Marlins are now one of the worst teams in baseball, and they just got swept out of the playoffs last year. And the D-backs got all the way to Game 5 of the World Series.
Yeah,
And
I don't know why the Marlins decided this offseason to just go the opposite direction, get rid of their top executive. Like, they felt like they were moving in one direction, and then they've completely gone the other direction. Now they seem rudderless.
Well, by the way, speaking of Marlins, let's give a Locked On MLB salute to Peter Pratt, the fabulous host all across the pond. He's the biggest Marlin fan in all of England, and he is wrapping up his time. He's leaving the Locked On Podcast Network. He's a fantastic host, and we wish him all the best.
Elite.
The Rocks at number 28 and the Angels at number 27. The Angels are so bad, and they're continuing their streak of the most consecutive losing seasons. And if the Tigers make the postseason, we'll get to them in a bit, the Angels will be alone of the only team in the last 10 seasons to not make the postseason even once. Good work there. 26, you got the A's. I have a couple more days left of hosting Locked On A's, so that should be a lot of fun. The Nats at 25. I'm fascinated by the Blue Jays at number 24. Because this was a team that there's talent on this team. There was some good pitching on this team, MVP caliber, and they're a total non-contender. And they lost tonight to Boston. What do you think about just this just disgraceful collapse of what should be a contending ball club?
Yeah, I don't know what happened to Toronto this season because, like you said, you look at that team just on paper coming to the year, they're still loaded with talent in that rotation, Gosman and Barrios, and you still got dudes in the lineup, and like Vlad Guerrero Jr. is finally having like that validation season after having that MVP level season where he was battling Shohei Ohtani for the home run leaderboard. He hasn't really had a season that's been anywhere close since then, except for this year. So it's such a surprise to see Toronto with so much talent having their best player have this kind of season and it really not amount to anything in the standings.
They got to change managers. They got to do something. And speaking of changing managers, there's a lot of talent on the Pittsburgh Pirates. Too much talent for them to be a complete non-factor. They were a wild card team in June for one day. And since then, they've Wile Coyote. Sorry to bring up Coyotes in front of you. I know it's a sore subject.
Dang. You're gonna do me like that, Sully?
I know. I didn't mean it. But at number 22, you have the defending World Series champion Texas Rangers. We are now at 24 straight years where we will not have back-to-back champions in baseball, but we still have knuckleheads saying it's the same teams winning every year. Go figure.
Yeah, are the Rangers still like drinking the champagne from last year's World Series because that
it's
team
a Bruce,
does not look right?
It's a Bruce Bochy team. They win the World Series, then they have a down year. Then they win the World Series, they have a down year. There's so much talent on this Ranger team. You know they're going to be contenders next year. The Reds took one look at their squad and said, hey, we are, we need a new manager. And there you go. By the way, the A's just walked off the Rangers. So they're playing celebration. Let's just run through the non-contenders there. The Cardinals, their front office has a lot to answer for. You know, Paul Goldschmidt, when he went to the Cardinals, thought he was going to be getting a trip to the World Series soon. He should have stayed in Arizona. The Giants, look, the thing about the Giants is they can't pitch and they can't hit. I mean, obviously, if you're going to play the Giants, you know you're going to score a lot of runs, and the Giants aren't going to score any runs themselves. What was the final score of the Diamondbacks-Giants game today?
Oh, God. It's 11-0 right now. But I did want to ask you, though, Sully, about the Giants. Did you think that Matt Chapman extension was a little crazy? It felt kind of pricey and kind of long in the moment when I saw that.
I think it was in a vacuum, yes. I think what the Giants are trying to do is send up a flare to potential free agents.
Okay.
To say, hey, we're willing to pay. We're willing to do this. Because they've been trying to sign a big free agent there for a bunch of years. So I think that was a shot across the bow for some big free agent to say, come to San Francisco. So I think it was less to do with how enamored they are with Chapman and more as a message to say, we got dough.
Okay,
We
I just
can
want
pay
you.
you.
Yeah, I want your 2 cents. Guy a little bit in the decline, entering mid-30s, 25 million a year. I was like, that's a lot of risk in that contract.
I'm not denying that. I am just telling you their ulterior motives. Before we go to break, let's just blast through the rest of the second half there. The Cubs. Remember everyone picked the Cubs to win the division?
Mm.
Yikes.
Yeah, that hasn't
Yikes.
worked out. Yeah, their
The
pitching has been
Rays.
good too, which is crazy.
The Rays, there's a lot of talent to that team. They had a down year, but I think they'll be back. And the Red Sox are 20 at 16. I think the Red Sox made some big strides this year. They're not a playoff team, obviously, and they won tonight against Toronto, but they made some big strides. They have some good players. I think they're gonna do quite well next year. What do you think?
Yeah, I think we all have the same thoughts about the Red Sox, which is they just need to go spend money on some pitching. Like they
Mhm.
have a nice and upcoming lineup. They have key players at great positions up and down, and so many guys on the rise. I mean, Durant has turned into one of the breakout stars of the MLB season. And so they even have some guys break out in their rotation this year with the Tanner Hawks. You just got to get some dudes you trust in the back end of the bullpen and a couple guys in the front line. I think the Red Sox could be, pretty close to the World Series, to be honest, if they make some key moves in free agency and trade market.
And then you have at 15 the Twins, who for almost its entire season were one of the wild card teams. Minnesota fans are going to wake up on Wednesday morning seeing their team 2 games back of the third wild card spot after this absolutely disastrous few weeks that they've had.
Yeah, the wild card race is insane. Some either the NL or the AL. Some fan base is going to wake up Monday morning. They're gonna be like, God, I was a playoff team for 90% of the season, and now because of the final 2 weeks, I'm just out of it. I can't. I don't want to be on the losing end of that spectrum as a D-backs fan.
All right, when we get back, we're going to breeze through the top 14 and see where the Diamondbacks fit in this puzzle.
But hey, I'll go first, and I'll talk about this little thing that I play every single day when I want to win some money. If you like daily fantasy sports, then I suggest hopping on Prize Picks because Prize Picks is America's #1 daily fantasy sports app with over 5 million active members. Prize Picks is the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. Unlike other apps, on Prize Picks, it's just you against the numbers. All you do is pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stats projections and watch the winnings roll in. Prize Picks invented the flex play, which means you can still cash out if your lineup isn't perfect. You can double your money even if one of your picks doesn't hit. Download the Prize Picks app today and use code LOCKEDONMLB and get $50 instantly when you play $5. That's code LOCKEDONMLB on Prize Picks to get $50 instantly when you play $5. You don't even need to win to receive the $50 bonus. It's guaranteed. Prize Picks, run your game.
All right, let's blast through these here right now. At number 14, you have the Mariners. I actually think that's high. The Mariners, they are they're torturing their fans, and they lost another game today. At one point, they were 44-31 with a 10-game lead in the West. And then they went on a stretch where they went 25-39. Okay. And they found themselves to be a sub 500 team in early September. They lost a 1-run game to the Astros, which allowed them to clinch. If in that stretch where they went 25-39 in the middle of the year, if they just won 3 more games, like a 28-36 run, that's still bad, but they would be within striking distance of the playoffs. This is another team that's filled with talent. Again, I don't think I've seen a team go from 10 games up to like a losing record this fast. And Scott Service became the first manager in the history of division play to have a 10-game lead in the season and not finish the year as manager.
Oh man, that sucks. I don't know what's happened to the Mariners the last couple of years. I mean, you break that drought of finally getting back to the postseason, but it feels like the ownership hasn't done anything to try and improve the team since then. It feels like they like being stuck in this mediocrity. So my heart goes out to Mariners fans because it felt like they've cut corners and done like these salary dump deals since going to the postseason. Like thanking the Mariners as a D-backs fan for getting Eugenio Suarez as a salary dump. So I don't know why the Mariners never seem to actually build up the talent that they have despite going to the postseason not that long ago.
All right. Well, the Royals are at 13. The Royals won a 1-0 game tonight against Washington. And the only reason they got the one run was because they put the Manfred man on second base at extra innings. There's no way the Royals were going to drive in a run any way, shape, or form. They've got great pitching. They were on the verge of falling out of the playoffs altogether. They lost 7 games in a row, and they got a Manfred man assisted win against the lowly Nationals team. But they were a team that were 100 losses last year. Now they're an 83-win team. It looks like they are hanging on for dear life for that final playoff spot. But, good for them. But I'm going to go to number 12. I've been dying to talk about this all day. Do you know what team won the trade deadline?
Who?
The Tigers. Because they didn't trade Tarek Skubal.
That is true.
They traded away Flaherty to the Dodgers. Imagine if they kept him. But as everyone assumed Skubal was going to be, he's the biggest trade chip. They didn't trade him. And now first of all, he's going to win the Cy Young Award.
Yeah.
But the Tigers are now tied for the second wild card spot. A few days ago, let me just read this one thing for you. I think everyone has an idea who the top ones on the power rankings are at this point. But on August 10th, okay, the Tigers were 8 games under 500. All right? They are 28-11 since. They've won 28 out of 39 games. And do you want to face them in a short series? The way they're playing?
Not right now.
I'd be horrified of them if I were Baltimore, or Houston for that matter.
And they're still you look at that team on paper, it's still who's who. Like you play a trivia game and you start asking people, hey, who's the Tigers' first baseman? Or even tell them, hey, player A, what team are they on? They won't guess the Detroit Tigers. Like it's still a team of just misfits and guys having, stepping up over the last couple months. And it's crazy to see them all gelling together right at the perfect time. Like you mentioned, August 10th, being that many games under 500. It's an insane in-season turnaround by this team.
Let's just going through here. The Braves are at number 11. They won a big game against the New York Mets and are climbing back into it. This last week is going to be absolute insanity between the Mets and the Braves. And because one of them's going to miss. At number 10,
that's like the D-backs. No, you're good. That's like the D-backs' best chance of making the postseason is honestly those two teams just cannibalizing each other this upcoming series.
At number 10, they clinched the division. The Astros. Do you want to face them in a short series, especially if they have Ronel Blanco, they have Framber Valdez, they have Yusei Kikuchi. They got a deep starting staff, and the Jeremy Pena's and the as long as Jose Altuve can keep his shoes and socks on, he should be playing quite well. Watch it be the Astros winning the pennant again. Although I'm not betting against the Tigers at this point.
Well, I actually want to ask you, Sully, why shouldn't we pick the Astros to at least go to the ALCS this year?
I think they're going to.
Okay.
I absolutely think they're going to. And I'll get to that a little bit and why in a little bit. The Mets, they lost a big game today, but they've been playing great baseball. And they'll be scary in a short series, provided they actually make it. Hey, guess who's at number 8?
Who?
The Diamondbacks.
Hey, maybe we shouldn't be that high. I don't know, but here we are at number 8 while the other teams are seemingly passing us in the wild card standings.
Obviously there's been some hiccups along the way. I still think if you have Brandon Pfaadt and Zach Gallen pitching well. And hopefully Ketel Marte looks like he's finding his bat again. Suarez has done well. If you have Carroll made a great catch today, if he's continuing to play well, it's a long shot, but they were a long shot last year. They won more games already this year than they did last year. So, do you give them a shot?
Let me ask you this as an outsider. If the D-backs do collapse and miss the postseason, are you considering firing Torey Lovullo?
Oh, God, no.
Okay.
Oh, God, no. No.
Okay,
I don't think this would be on him. And I don't think that I think they're gonna hang in. I think they're gonna hang in.
I mean, it might just be like last year. If you go back and look at the way the D-back season ended last year, they backed their way into the postseason.
Yeah.
They were getting crushed by the Astros in that final series of the weekend. So let's just pray the D-backs can back in again this year.
They made the playoffs because the Cubs collapsed last year, is basically what happened. At number 7, speaking of disappointment, Baltimore, they beat the Yankees today. But remember, this team was in first place at the break, and I picked them to win the pennant. And they made a bunch of trades at the trade deadline, and they're not the same team that they were. And this is a very beatable team in a postseason series.
Yeah, they seem to be hitting a little bit of a wall. You see them making some moves right now, right? They just DFA'd Craig Kimbrell, didn't they, recently? So the Orioles know that there's been some problems recently with their plan. They seem to be trying to address it as we get closer to the postseason.
All right, let me put it this way. Since the beginning of July, only the Angels and the White Sox have been worse than the American League. I'm putting it out there. They're 33 and 39 the second half of the season.
That's not good.
And that's not a small sample size. I don't know why they're 7. Number 6, you got the division champion Brewers, who I think are they're a sleeper team to win the pennant. I like their depth and I like their team.
I will say the exact opposite. I think they're a sleeper team to get knocked out in the first round. I think they're the classic, look good in the regular season, but they do not have the team built for the postseason.
Well, speaking of postseason, right now, as we're recording this, the Padres and the Dodgers are battling it out. And I was there at Dodger Stadium on the game on Sunday when Ohtani and Betts went back to back. If they didn't do that and the Padres held on to this 4-1 lead, the Padres will be only 1 game out. And if they hold on to this 4-1 lead, they'll only be 2 games out. The Padres could win the division. It's not a probability, but it's a possibility.
I mean, could we be in line for maybe D-backs, Dodgers wild card round? That I don't know if I'm ready for that. I want to see the Dodgers in the postseason, but I don't know if I'm ready to see them in the wild card round. I want to save that matchup for later in the playoffs.
The Padres are horrifying if you're going to play them because they're at full strength now. They've not been at full strength for a big chunk of this season. And, they have their few of their players are not, but Cease is in the rotation, King is in the rotation, Darvish is in the rotation, Musgrove is in the rotation, Tatis is back, Bogarts is back, Machado. I mean, file that under yikes.
And they got the rookie of the year and probably Jackson Merrill too.
I'm gonna go Paul Skeens, but what do I know? Another team that I think could do really well. The Guardians are at number 4. The thing about the Guardians that's horrifying is if they have a lead in the 6th, the game's over. Absolutely, it's like real nasty. And the starting rotation just has to pitch well enough to get to that bullpen. And that's scary.
Is going to get some Cy Young votes. I mean, there's already conversations about, it seems like Scooball is going to get the award, but Clase might finish as a finalist, though.
I have no problem with that. Number 3, the problematic Dodgers, who probably will finish with the best record in the National League. But the problem with them is I'm currently penciled in to start game 2. Their starting pitching staff. The starting pitching staff is an absolute mystery right now.
Yeah, it's suspect. I mean, Glass now, he made, the the most innings pitched by Glass now by like one start this season, and then he immediately misses the rest of the season with injury. We knew that was going to happen. Yamamoto, he's back now, but a lot
He
of
didn't look
guys
good the
in
game
and
I
out.
saw him at. He did not look
Yeah.
good the game I saw him at.
And that's been kind of
So
the story with all these guys, right? The Walker Buehlers have been in and out. He hasn't looked good when he's been right. Kershaw, I don't even know what the status of his health. That
he's
rotation right now is in shambles.
yeah. And the top two, the Yankees, I think that's high. I'm leaning on the Guardians more than the Yankees, although the
Mm.
Yankees are playing great baseball right now and do look like they're at full strength. I voted Guardians 2, Yankees 3. That's what I did. But no one asked me. Wait, they did ask me. I voted that.
Okay. I need to maybe start voting in this because I used to do it when I could only submit one team. And I just put D-backs #1, press submit, and then close the window every time. And so I always try to skew the votes, but haven't done it in a long time.
And one is the Phillies, who I think right now you has to be considered the team to beat in the National League.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I mean, the Phillies have a loaded lineup. They're 7-8 deep. They got a frontline rotation. Ranger Suarez has had a breakout season. Christopher Sanchez has been really good too. I mean, they're so deep in every area. The Phillies are the scariest team, and they have the best playoff ballpark as well.
All right, when we come back, I want to talk a little bit about the state of the Diamondbacks as we enter this final round. Hey, let's talk a little bit about Booking.com, or should I say Booking.yeah. Look, if you want to book for the best hotels, beds and breakfasts, is that the proper plural of bed and breakfast? Bed and breakfasts, vacation rentals, resorts, and so much more. Find it on Booking.com. You may find the perfect stay even in your baseball's rival city this postseason. Let me tell you something. I used Booking.com this summer for a fantastic trip I took. We went to Buffalo, which, by the way, beautiful city. Buffalo is a really nice city. And I stayed downtown Buffalo in a wonderful hotel, went to a Bison's game, went over to Syracuse, stayed at a nice, safe hotel by the college, went to see the Syracuse Mets, and then across upstate New York. And I spent 2 glorious days in Cooperstown, where my hotel was right by the lake, but walking distance to the Hall of Fame. It was a fantastic time, and I have to thank Booking.com for all of it. It can deliver exactly the right stay for you. Booking.com can help you book a stay that's close to your home team or your rival stadium. From hotels that overlook the stadium to those fabulous hotels in Cooperstown, Booking.com has so many choices across the United States. The right stay can make you a fan of any U.S. city, even your baseball rivals. Booking.com. Booking.com? More like Booking.yeah. All right, quickly, let's talk a little bit. The Diamondbacks, first of all, they're going to fix this stadium issue, right? They've been having issues with the roof, they had issues with air conditioning. I've been hosting Locked On A's. I don't want to go through this with the Diamondbacks. They're going to fix this problem, right?
I don't know. The way the president and CEO of the D-backs, Derek Hall, is talking, I don't know. He's making it sound like we might have to start exploring some other options. Now, the lease is still good through 2027, so I still think we have a little bit of time to bandage over the situation. But right now, as a guy who, worked for the Arizona Coyotes, I know a thing or two from, the inside of relocating and stadium issues. So I definitely don't want to see the D-backs go through something like that.
Well, this A's thing could fall apart in Sacramento, and Las Vegas could build that stadium, which would be ready by 2028. So you better fix something, because there would be an option. There'd be the Las Vegas Diamondbacks. I don't want to see that. I do not like relocating franchises. Enough of that. Tell me your thoughts. What are your biggest bits of confidence and your biggest worries about the D-backs going into the postseason, assuming they're getting into the postseason?
Yeah, assuming. I mean, I don't know. I'm just concerned with the lackluster play and the sense of urgency right now that we're seeing from the D-backs. I mean, right now, this has been the best offense all season, and they just got shut out by the San Francisco Giants. And we've seen too many games this month where they'll either have an 8-run game, blow out the team, or they'll just put up like 1 run or less. And it's like, why is the offense all of a sudden going through these up and down slumps? Why are guys like Jake McCarthy and Jock Peterson starting to hit a wall? Why is the rotation now fully healthy, still being up and down? Brandon Pfaadt just came off maybe the best start of his season with a career high 11 strikeouts. And now in 2 of his last 3 starts, he didn't even finish like 3 innings pitched. Like, I just don't understand why this team has been so up and down over the course of September after looking like the most dominant team from about June to September over the course of the MLB season.
By the way, I didn't realize they're tied with the Braves in the loss column right now. I looked. I mean, the Braves have won their last 3. Arizona's dropped their last 3. By the way, San Francisco's won their last 5. They woke up at the wrong time. There is a possibility that there could be a 90-win team missing the postseason this year. That's on the table because the Mets have 87 wins, Arizona has 87 wins, Atlanta has 86 wins. I mean, this National League is pretty tight with the competition there. I think the Diamondbacks are going to hold on, but the thing is when you only have 4 games left, 5 games left, whatever it is, when it's a 5-game sample size, that's literally anything can happen. There's no like, well, I think they'll hang on. You can't make any predictions over that.
Yeah, if you told me before the season D-backs were going to win 90 games, I would have said they were going to be a lock for the postseason because you looked at the wild card the last couple of years, like the top team was topping out at like 88 wins, 89 wins. And now, and the D-backs even last year backed into the postseason with a negative run differential. And now the very next season, they could potentially win 90 games and miss the postseason. Just so frustrating, this sport of baseball at times.
Well, that's what makes baseball great. That's what makes it fantastic. Now, you're all listening to this. You're waking up. It's probably Wednesday morning. So I'm just going to quick. Let's do it. By the way, the Padres and Dodgers are still going on right now. So I don't know if they're going to pull off another miracle like they did on Sunday. But the Mariners and the Astros are playing each other. Kirby, who's had a fabulous season against Kikuchi. I think the Astros know they're not going to catch Cleveland or New York. So this is a tune-up. The real important games going on would include the Lorenzen of the Royals is going against Hurst of the Nationals. The Yankees and Orioles are locking antlers again with the Yankees trying to clinch the division. The Orioles hanging on for dear life. Peterson versus Sale, Mets Braves. That's the game of the day. Sale is on. If he wins, that'll be his 19th win. Why can't the Red Sox get players like Chris Sale? And then you have the Marlins and the Twins, with the Twins falling fast. And then you have the Padres and the Dodgers, Flaherty versus Cease. And the D-backs have Black for San Francisco, who for a minute I thought was Bud Black, and Zach Gallen. If he is an ace, this is the day to pull your ace. And of course, the most important game is going to be in Chicago, where Suarez and the Angels are going up against Martin and the White Sox. Will the White Sox avoid 121 losses? We shall see. We shall see. Millard, where can people listen to your fantastic show?
Yeah, please catch me wherever you're streaming podcasts or on all your platforms. And please check us out on YouTube, Locked On Diamondbacks on there as well.
All right. And follow us at Locked On MLB Pods on Twitter or whatever it's called now on Instagram. I am your pal Sully. I'm at Sully Baseball on Twitter, Sully Baseball Podcast on Instagram. For a few more days, you can check me out doing double duty on Locked On A's. So we're doing that through the end of the regular season. Peter Pratt, Godspeed. Great job with Locked On Marlins. This has been a Locked On Diamondbacks, Locked On MLB crossover. He's Millard Thomas. I'm your pal Sully. For old time's sake, let's fist pump.
Boom.